when I was about 7 or 8 years old, my mom told me what abortion was. And of course, as a young child, I was taken aback. And my next inclination was to ask her if we could do anything to help, if we could do anything about it. And I remember her then being taken aback, really pausing to contemplate that question. And she finally said, well, yes, there is. There is something that we can do about it. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Lauren Musica Show. This week, we're going to hit you with another power thought. But this time around, I'm not going to share the so-called thesis until the end of the show. I wanted to start this power thought with a story, actually a question that people always ask me. So at different points, because of what I do at Sidewalk Advocates for Life, serving as the president CEO of the nation's largest peaceful sidewalk outreach organization, inevitably, people will come up to me and ask me the very first time that I ever sidewalk counseled, right? Quote unquote, sidewalk counseled. And I usually say college. That was when the interdenominational Brazos Valley Coalition for Life, the local peaceful activist organization that eventually birthed the very first 40 Days for Life campaign, if you're familiar with that beautiful prayer campaign. They had invited some of us college students to get trained in reaching out to mothers in crisis in front of the local Planned Parenthood abortion facility in our college town. And then, of course, I became hooked so much that my so-called side ministry or hobby, I guess you could say, eventually became my life's work. But after being asked that a number of times, at one point it hit me that that actually wasn't the first time that I ever did something like that. It was really when I was about 7 or 8 years old, and my mom told me what abortion was. I still remember being in our kitchen, and I asked my mom what abortion was, and she told me. And of course, as a young child, probably, you know, a little bit more impressionable and innocent at that point in my life. Again, I was taken aback, and my next inclination was to ask her if we could do anything to help, if we could do anything about it. And I remember her then being taken aback, really pausing to contemplate that question, seemingly blessed by it. I could tell that as a mom, she wanted to answer well, right? And she finally said, well, yes, there is. There is something that we can do about it. And so what she did is she ordered a big box of pamphlets about what abortion really was and life before birth from Texas Right to Life. I still remember when the box came in the mail and it was just brimming with all this great information. And we stacked up those pamphlets. You know, I got some of them in my hands. We agreed that I was going to take, two of them to each house. So what we did is we went up and down the street in my neighborhood, and she would stand at the cusp of the driveway and empower me to be the one to walk up to the door with a couple of those pamphlets in my hand. I would knock on the door, and then I would just simply say, "Hi, I'd like to give you some information about abortion." And I would hand it to my neighbors. They would thank me, I'd thank them, and that was it. It was beautiful. And then we just moved along. Now, it's funny because when I look back, thankfully, we lived at the time in suburbia Houston, which is very conservative. And even then, no one probably wanted to kick a 7 or 8-year-old to the curb, right? But that powerful message that I could do something at that young age, that one person could make a difference, I truly have my mom to thank for that. She would, in so many different ways, say to me, Lauren, you have the power to change the world. And so I grew up believing it, still believe it today. And I pass that on to all of you. But my kind of thesis here, my message to all of you who have children is this. Never underestimate your power to plant eternal seeds in the lives of your children. Your heart, your witness is powerful. It matters. And it just might start a nationwide or even worldwide movement. My mom's witness, just that simple witness of you can do something to affect change, to change someone's life, to change generations. That sentiment is a big reason why Sidewalk Advocates for Life, the ministry that I do, exists today. We began in 2014, and just a year later, my mom passed away from health complications. But I often think I can't wait to see her again in heaven, give her another hug, and thank her for so much fruit that I never dreamed our ministry would be experiencing today. So, moms and dads, keep planting those seeds, and you just never know how God will water and grow them. All right. Well, with that, thank you, everyone, for joining me once again. We'll be back next week at 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central on the Sidewalk Advocates for Life Facebook page, YouTube channel, or wherever you get podcasts. Thanks for listening, everyone.